Hey, Hayden in Montclair, New Jersey. Matthew here with freeprescriptionlenses.com, and I'm going to show you how I cut transition lenses for your RayBan ClubMaster, which is the 3016 model number, and the color is the 0365. Is that it? I can't see over my head. And of course the 49 eye size. So let's go ahead and begin. I'm going to take your frame out of the original packaging, out of the Italian leather RayBan case, and of course your RayBan frame, your RayBan cleaning cloth, and some junk mail, because you just don't get enough of it in your mailbox now. So they're putting some in your eyeglass case. And of course, this is how it comes, with a little plastic sleeve on the temple to prevent the temples from rubbing together during shipping. Well, if RayBan thinks it's a good idea to ship one on there, I'm going to put a second one on there, so we'll have twice the protection when I ship to you. How's that? And first things first, you said you're about to go in the Coast Guard. I just want to thank you for your service and what you do for this country to make it easy for people like me to work 100 hours a week. Thanks a lot, buddy. No, just kidding. No, I do really thank you for what you're doing. So this is the frame with the little G15 sticker on your G15 lenses. And I'm going to take my Phillips head screwdriver and do a little lefty-loosey. If I can, there we go. Lefty-loosey. Let's pop out the original heavy glass lenses, and I'm going to cut unbreakable prescription lenses for you. If I can ever get that screw out. There we go. Let me tighten it back. You know it. Is it Phillips head? Is it Phillips head? Yes, it is. Do I have a larger blade? No, we'll have to be stuck with this one. Oh, there's the larger one. Alright, let me change blades out. Hang on. That's nice. That's the only tools I need to have. This is a great profession, isn't it? Not to mention the $30,000 edger, the $1,500 blocker, and the $2,000 lensometer. But other than that, this is all I need. Let me tighten this screw back down. Do the same thing on this side, a little lefty-loosey. And this is a classic frame. In fact, in your book, your icons, we'll go over that in a little bit, and maybe even talk about when this frame was made. So of course this is the black and gold. So let's go ahead and put your frame into my Santanelli. This is the LE1000 patternless edger, and the stylus has popped up and is going to trace the shape of the right lens, and it's going to move over and trace the shape of the left. Here at freeprescriptionlenses.com, where everyone loves a bargain and no one is disappointed in quality. Only my wife is disappointed in me. Because I'm working 100 hours a week. But hey, at least the house stays clean, because I'm not there bringing home clutter, doing stuff, eating potato chips on the couch. No, none of that. So, let's pull the shape up on the computer. I'm going to put your pupillary distance of 57 in here. 57. And these are polycarbonate lenses that I'm cutting for a metal frame. So, let me go ahead and get started. Your right eye reads -275, -50 at 105. So this is -275, -50. In fact, since I'm sending you these packets, I will highlight them for you. It's the number on the bottom. We're doing everything in minus cylinder. The one above that is in plus cylinder. So -275, -50 at 105. And of course, these are the Transitions brand lenses. And what's your axis? 105. So I'm going to spin the axis wheel of my Marco 101 lensometer to 105. I just want to make sure the prism ring is centered perfectly. I'm going to turn the power drum to -275. Put your lens in. Rotate until the sphere power comes in clearly. Locate the optical center of the lens. Check your astigmatism correction, which I'll explain in a little bit, but all it means is you squint. That's what astigmatism means. Now I've got 3 dots on your lenses which are too light for you to see, so I'm going to darken these for you. And this is the right lens, so I'm going to put an R. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the left lens, which reads -3, -50 at 75, -3, -50 at 75. And this one is at 105. You get all the original packaging from everything, the lenses, the frames. That way you can verify the authenticity. You just can't verify how crazy I am. That's why you have to watch the videos to find that out. So, put the power drum on -3. I'm going to rotate your lens until the sphere power comes in clearly, which is the magnification, but in your case the minification. Find the optical center of the lens, put 3 dots on there. Darken those 3 dots so you can keep score at home. And I'm going to put an L on this lens, which stands for not right. Okay, This is a block. This is a Jenny from the block. I need to attach this to your lens while it is cutting. Look how small. It's talking about your lenses minify. Look how small that gets. Look how small that gets when I put it over here. Look how big it gets here. Okay, no. But I need to attach this to your lens, so I need a double-sided adhesive sticker at this hour. So, what temperature is it? 75 degrees here in Durham, North Carolina. So, 3M, the same people who make Post-it notes, makes double-sided adhesive stickers. The black side is the sticky side. I'm going to stick that onto the block, pull the tape away. And what I'm looking into is just like the optical crosshairs of a scope. I have a vertical meridian and a horizontal one. And I'm going to get those 3 dots on the horizontal one, and then the vertical one is going to go right through the optical center. So you will be dead center in the crosshairs yourself. Hopefully not danger-wise when you join the Coast Guard in November. You know, that's a cold time to be in the water in New Jersey. You know what happens to us guys in cold water? We get cold. Why? What were you thinking? Sorry, this is PG-13, at least so far. By the time I start cutting your left lens, that all might change. So I'm going to take your right lens and put it into the chuck, or as I like to say, the Charles, because I don't know the machine well enough to call it chuck. And if I knew I had company coming over, I would have cleaned all the sawdust off. Look at that, little optical debris. But the first thing that's going to happen, let me clean it off the top too. You know, if only I knew I had company coming over. But the calipers are coming down and they're tracing the shape of the right side of your frame onto the lens, starting with the concave rear surface of the lens. Now it's moving over to trace the convex front surface, all the while measuring the thickness at every point going around the lens to make sure it's large enough to fit. The actual cutting wheel is down here. Oh, drop the PD stick. On the bottom, it's that lighter color wheel that's going to act like a heavy grit sandpaper. This wheel in the center with that channel, that's what's going to put the bevel onto the lens so it stays inside the bevel of the frame. I will have to close the door in just a moment. But I just wanted you to see as your lens touches down on the cutting wheel. Now your lenses are made out of polycarbonate. This brand, they call it Airwell, which is polycarb. Polycarb is 40% thinner and lighter than regular plastic. It is also virtually unbreakable. It is bulletproof up to .22 caliber, which is important in New Jersey, as well as having both UVA and UVB protection. We know what the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays can do to your skin, where your eyes are 8 times more sensitive than your skin. So you have permanent sunscreen for your eyes, as well as transition lenses that will turn dark when you go outside. But talk about minifying. Look at the large print as your lens goes over it and how small. That's how your lenses minify. The opposite of a magnifying lens. One lens makes bigger, the other lens makes smaller. Put them together and nothing happens. No. So if you notice, your lens is completely flat and full of this stuff. But no, there is water running in the background, but polycarbonate cuts dry. The water is only there to catch this debris when it goes back there. Now there are 2 water jets that will kick in at the very end, one here and one there. It'll do that in the last 20 seconds of the cutting cycle to wash this stuff away that I keep pulling off your lens. But if you notice, your lens is completely flat. Just like a nickel, I could take it out and it would stand up on its edges. But in just a moment, and the moment is now, the moment is here, it will move over and get the bevel placed on the lens, the knife-like edge. A very dull knife like me, but a knife-like edge nonetheless. But I do remind everyone that these lenses will be sharp enough to cut a piece of tissue, providing you soak the tissue in a bucket of water overnight and then use all your weight. Really lean into it. And you might be able to cut through a piece of tissue with these lenses. That white powdery substance you see everywhere that I was cleaning off when we first got started, that is called Schwarf. In fact, let me clean that off my fingers now. Wipe it on my pants. Good thing I don't do laundry. Thank you, honey, for always making me look so nice. Now, I didn't get married till I was 41, so I was a bachelor for about 20 years, and I thought I could do laundry. But it wasn't until I got married or met my wife that I had no business doing laundry. Now, I did separate colors and whites. I think I washed everything in cold so nothing would shrink, but My dryer had a timer that went up to 60 minutes and a start button. That was it. My wife's dryer looks like it was designed by NASA. In fact, it has this wrinkle guard that if you don't open the door within 5 minutes of the buzzer, it will start back up to prevent wrinkles. They didn't have anything like that when I was a bachelor. Okay, so I'm going to take your lens out, dry your lens off, and in just in case the camera got wet, I'm going to dry that off too. Don't worry, that is a cleaning cloth. You don't have blue cataracts. So, like me, your lens has some rough edges. At least these we can do something about. So, and I'm going to do it with my hand stone, which is completely flat. I can put my finger on it while it's running, and my finger gets warm due to the friction, but it's that friction that allows me to apply what's known as the safety bevel. And essentially, instead of smoothing them, I have melted them using that friction. And this white powdery substance that I am cleaning off the lens is called Schwarf. For all you Mel Brooks Spaceball fans, this is when I say, may the Schwarf be with you. But it's not going to be with you because I've got it all on the counter. And Hayden, when you join the Coast Guard, you're going to see this white powdery substance as it gets smuggled into the country. Do what I'm doing. Take it to the edge of the counter and then wipe it on the floor. I believe that's what the Coast Guard does with it. So okay, let's go ahead and get this right lens mounted. I'm going to take my little tiny Phillips head screwdriver and go lefty loosey. I'm going to put the lens in there and then go righty tighty. That fits in there well. Can you see the screw hiding down in there? No, you can't. That's how well it's hiding. So let's go ahead and start cutting the left lens. I'm going to take the not right lens, put it into the chuck, hit the L button, and then hit start. Just like before, the calipers are going to come down and they're going to trace the shape of the left side this time. Always starting with the concave, the rear surface closest to your eyelashes before moving over. Hang on, I didn't decenter it. Hang on. I've got to program it a little bit better. Hang on 1 second. I forgot to switch it over for the left. This temperamental Italian machine late in the day. Okay. This late in the day I forget to hit the right buttons too. But as I was saying, it comes down and traces the shape of the left lens. Hang on, it's being stubborn. It's being stubborn, it's fighting with me. Did I put this lens in right? In fact, let me take it out and start over. Try everything off. Let's flip this over. Now let's try it. Hit the start button. Now let's see if it traces. Trace, 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 trace. And I'm not saying 3 in Spanish. There we go. So always starting with the rear surface, the concave surface closest to the eyelashes. Then it's going to move over and trace the convex front surface of the lens. Always measuring the thickness of the lens as it goes around, because your lens is thicker in some points than others. So it knows exactly where to place the bevel so it fits best inside the frame. Sometimes it moves it forward, sometimes it moves it back. But as soon as this begins cutting, I'm going to continue to work on your right lens. And cut. So I'm going to take this block off. It is no longer needed. Pull the sticker off, dry everything off, and then I'm going to put your lens back into my lensometer. I'm going to spin the axis wheel back to 105. Hopefully you can see that through there, 105. I'm going to put it in over that red dot in my viewfinder. And I'm reading -275. I'm going to check your astigmatism correction. And you have half a diopter of astigmatism correction. We have 3 1/4. The way your astigmatism works, or the way your prescription reads, you've heard of ounces, gallons, and pounds. Well, the unit of measurement we use in the optical world is called a diopter, and it goes in quarter increments starting at 0, known as plano, but more widely known as non-prescription. Goes up from there, 0.25, 0.50, 75, 1, and so on. For your right eye, hang on, I gotta do some math in my head. 275, you need 11 steps of correction for your farsightedness. You are nearsighted. You can see great up close. The farther away it gets, you just can't see it anymore. So you need 11 steps of correction to actually minify. With your glasses off, everything is too large in real life. So your lens will minify by 11 steps. After that, you need an additional 2 steps for your astigmatism, and there is a stigma over astigmatism. It just means that things are blurry. So 6s and 8s and the letters P and F look alike. This first number makes everything the correct size. This will correct for that fuzziness. Think of it as the fine-tune knob. And we're going to turn that fine-tune knob to 105, a straight line being from 0 to 180. When I turn it to just past 90 to 105, everything gets clear. That's why your lens I put those 3 dots on there. It has to be oriented just right for you to see your best. For your left eye, you actually need 1 more step of correction to minify. You need 12 steps of correction, but an additional 2 steps to take away the fuzzy edges. And here we just turn that fine-tune knob to 75. Now, these first 2 numbers are real values. This last number could be anywhere from 0 to 180. Technically 1 to 180, because 0 and 180 are the same number on a straight line. But that is that. That is your prescription. And in fact, high school algebra, when you have 2 minuses, you add them together. So your combined power, if someone had, I'll explain it a little bit better, but if someone had borrowed $3 from you and then they borrowed an additional 50 cents, they would owe you $3.50. That will be the final power on the drum. This one is reading 3 1/4 because we have someone borrowed $2.75 and then another 50 cents, so they owe you 3 1/4. And while you're letting everyone borrow money, can I borrow some to buy some new equipment? Okay, so I'm going to take the lens out of the chuck. Thank you, Charles. I'm going to dry the lens off back to the handstone real quick to melt those rough edges. And after a couple bottles of wine, my rough edges seem to melt away too. You know, I shouldn't joke about that. I'm a teetotaler. Actually, I don't even drink tea. I just drink water. I'm a water totaler. Wherever that term comes from. But again, I'm very responsible, so I clean up my mess briefly and then I wipe it on the floor. Because I can. Because the clown should have fun while he's at work too. It's not all serious business for us clowns. So lefty loosey. And this is how, if you were to ever change your lenses out, you just loosen that eye wire screw. And if you want to, do it over a bowl or a big dish pan so you don't lose that screw. And honestly, you don't have to take it out all the way like I just did. You can have it in there a little bit, because these are unbreakable bulletproof lenses. I can't say that enough. At least bulletproof up to 22 caliber. It will snap right in there. You don't have to worry about chipping or flaking the lens. And then just tighten that screw down with a little tiny Phillips head screwdriver or a hammer, whatever works best for you. You know, you're a handy guy to have around. You'll figure it out with a hammer. Again, did I mention these are unbreakable lenses? I did not mention that the frame was breakable, however, though, so with a hammer only. So I'm gonna put it in above that red dot still. In my little viewfinder, I'm gonna turn the axis wheel back to 75. Hopefully you can see the 75 through there and all the dust that's on top of my lensometer. I check, I'm reading -3 diopters of power. Now your 2 additional steps of astigmatism correction brings us to 350, which if you can't see is exactly halfway between 3 and 4. So that is made correctly. Your pupillary distance is 57. So I'm going to turn the card over. I'm going to place my PD stick against my thumb, not the inches. Let's turn it over to millimeters, against my thumb on your right lens. And when we hold it up to the left lens, we're saying 57. So that is made correctly. The other thing I want to do is I'd like to take the time now while I'm cleaning your lenses to explain that when you get these in the mail, if they're too loose or they're too tight, or more than likely, hang on, I got to get in there to clean that red dot off. More than likely one side is higher than the other. That's because 80% of people have one ear that's higher than the other. So when you get these in the mail, if they're not perfect, just stop by your local optical shop, because 99% of all optical shops will do free adjustments if you ask them. And of course, while I've got it in my hand, this is the RayBan 3016 ClubMaster. The color is let me pull it away so I can see, 0365 in the 49 eye size. Of course, you've got the gold triple barrel hinges, one of the strongest hinges that RayBan has ever made. And actually the opposite side of the hinge, the rivet if you will, this is known as the shield. This is an old school vintage look that was made popular in the 60s. But I'm still going to go ahead and get it in standard alignment. also known as a 3-point stance. The 3 points are 1, 2, and the bottom of the frame being 3. I set it on the counter and press down, there is no wobble. I flip it over, press down, there is no wobble. I close each temple to make sure they overlap perfectly, and they do, in the same amount of tension on each hinge. So this is what your lenses look like clear. I'm going to go ahead and expose them to a very strong burst of ultraviolet light in my little transitions box back there. And as you will see, it takes about 30 to 45 seconds for transition lenses to darken. It takes a little bit longer when you come back inside, about 45 seconds to a minute 15 to return back to clear. And also, this is important, Hayden, pay attention. All transition lenses will get dark on day 1. Give them 2 weeks of exposure. They're going to continue to darken every day for the first 2 weeks till they reach their final color. Now after that, they will work for years at maximum performance. The only time they will not work is if you're in your car driving, because your windshield absorbs all the sun's harmful ultraviolet rays, so your upholstery doesn't rot and your dashboard doesn't crack from sitting in the sun. That's why they won't turn dark in a car. Now if you have a convertible or a motorcycle, yes, they will darken. They're also temperature sensitive. When it's 90 and above, they just don't get as dark as they do when it's 90 and below. I remind everyone that when it's 95 degrees, you're miserable, your glasses are miserable. Nobody likes to work 100% when it's that hot outside. So that's it. That's the first time they're darkening. And again, don't you worry, they're going to keep getting darker and darker. Hayden, come on, we talked about this, don't you remember? I thought we went over this. Anyway, that's that. If anyone has any questions about what I can and can't do, although quite honestly, there's nothing I can't do when it comes to glasses and prescription lenses, and I even give them away for free. So this frame cost $150. Your prescription lenses were free. You paid the $50 to upgrade to the transition lenses. Anti-glare runs about $40 more. You did not get that this time, maybe next time. Of course, you don't have a high amount of astigmatism, so it really doesn't bother you. But Hayden in Montclair, New Jersey, who's just about to go and put his life on the line to protect our coast and guard it, I do thank you. And everyone else out there listening to this, I'm sure they do too. And everyone else hopefully has also got the chance to see how I bring that love and feeling back to glasses. Thank you.